She swiped frantically, her eyes darting across the screen. The tablet contained everything she had refused to see 7 years ago. There were the recovered IP logs from the school group chat, tracing every malicious message posted under my name back to a device registered to Mason. There were the surveillance videos from the school hallways, the ones the principal claimed had been corrupted, now fully restored, showing Mason paying 2 older students to steal my exam papers and shove them into my locker. And then, there was the video from the staircase. Sherry's breath hitched as she watched the grainy footage. She saw me walking up the stairs, carrying a stack of books. She saw Mason waiting at the landing. She saw him say something to me. I didn't react, just tried to walk past him. And then, she saw him grab my arm, yank me backward, and deliberately throw himself backward down the steps, making sure to scream loud enough for the entire house to hear. I hadn't pushed him. I hadn't even touched him. The tablet slipped from Sherry's hands, clattering onto the sterile floor of the hospital corridor. No, she whispered, her voice cracking, her hands flying to her mouth. No, this is wrong. This has to be wrong, Ms. Bennett, the assistant said quietly, his voice heavy with pity. The private investigators verified everything. It's all real. Mason orchestrated the entire thing. He wanted Landon out of the house. He wanted to be the only brother you loved. Sherry staggered backward, hitting the glass wall of the ICU. She turned slowly, her eyes finding my lifeless body on the bed inside. The doctors had stopped CPR. They were pulling the sheet over my face. She slammed her palms against the glass. Landon, she screamed, the sound tearing from her throat, raw and agonizing. Landon, no. Wake up. Please wake up. She burst through the heavy double doors, pushing past the startled nurses. She threw herself over my body, pulling the sheet back, her tears falling onto my pale, cold face. I'm sorry, she sobbed, burying her face in my neck. I'm so sorry, Landon. I didn't know. I was so blind. Please, please come back. Let me fix it. Let me protect you like I promised. Please don't leave me. I floated above her, watching the scene unfold with a strange, detached calm. The pain that had defined my life for the past 7 years was gone. The resentment, the anger, the bone-deep exhaustion, it had all evaporated the moment my heart stopped. I looked down at the sister who had broken me. She was begging for forgiveness from a corpse. It was pathetic, and it was entirely too late. He's gone, Ms. Bennett, the attending physician said softly, placing a hand on her shoulder. We did everything we could, but his body was too weak from the cancer to survive the transplant trauma. Sherry let out a guttural, animalistic wail. She collapsed onto the floor, clutching my cold hand to her chest. She had forced me to save her precious Mason, and in doing so, she had killed the brother she had sworn to protect. A month later, I was still tethered to the earthly plane, lingering as an invisible observer. The Bennett estate was quiet and heavy with mourning, but not for me. Mason was recovering beautifully. The liver I had given him, the liver he had stolen from me, was functioning perfectly. He was the picture of health, pampered by the household staff and celebrated for his miraculous recovery. Sherry, however, was a ghost of her former self. She had aged 10 years in a matter of weeks. She barely ate, barely slept, and she refused to see Mason. When he tried to visit her in her study, acting the part of the devoted, concerned brother, she had thrown a glass tumbler at his head, screaming at him to get out. I watched her sit in my old, dusty bedroom, the one she had given to Mason 14 years ago, and then turned into a storage closet after I left. She sat on the floor, surrounded by my old journals and sketchbooks, tracing my handwriting with trembling fingers. I'm going to make him pay, Landon, she whispered to the empty room, her voice a fragile, broken thing. I'm going to make him suffer for every second he stole from you, and she tried. Oh, how she tried. Sherry cut off Mason's access to the Bennett family fortune. She kicked him out of the main estate, forcing him to move into a modest apartment downtown. She publicly disowned him,